guys. Welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to get on here, you guys, with the holiday. I'm not gonna lie, YouTube has just completely slipped my mind. And then I kind of got into this like after Christmas funk. I don't know what quite caused it. You know, I spoke to you guys in a previous video about how, you know, this time of year is really hard for me anyways because of my grandfather's death, and his birthday's the 21st, and then you have Christmas right after. And I just think because my life was so crazy and going back and forth that I didn't have time to really think about his passing until after Christmas was over and the craziness had died down. So I think that's kind of why YouTube was just kind of put on the back burner. And it's not because I don't appreciate all of the people that, you know, subscribe to my channel. That it's just, you know, like I said, it was a funk that I got into. And then, let's see, what day did I start? I think it was pretty much Monday. Well, no, because Christmas Eve was Monday and then Christmas was Tuesday. Wednesday, I took down my Christmas tree. We took down everything Christmas themed in my house and it was all done by Wednesday. Today is now Sunday and my husband is taking down our Christmas lights. I'm just done. I want it all over with. He's getting ready to leave for Hawaii, so I wanted it all done and over with before he left. So he's getting that done for me today. But Wednesday, as I started taking down stuff for Christmas, I was like, you know what? We have 7 months, and 7 months ain't crap to go through 5 years worth of stuff to get ready to move. So I just started depurging, or purging, whatever you want to call it, decluttering. That's the word I was looking for. I literally took like 7 black garbage bags, random crap that I couldn't fit into garbage bags, and then just everything I could get my hands on that technically wasn't bolted down, that didn't need to be in my house. It is gone. My room and my husband's room is still left. The girls' rooms and Brennan's room is done. My husband's fixer closet, as my son calls it, he's got his like 3D printer and stuff in there. That one is done. We took a whole day and did that. So everything's done upstairs except for mine and my husband's room. And then downstairs, like, I did everything. The only thing that needs to be done is the garage. And then that will be the last thing that we have to do. And that garage, oh Lord, is the bane of my existence because we get it cleaned, and just because we use it as extra storage, it gets dirty really fast. And I feel like it's either me or my husband purging stuff from that garage constantly. But I think when we get paid on the 15th, I'm going to go buy a bunch of totes. My mother brought down a bunch of stuff when we moved back here to this area. She drove up here and spent a couple days with me right after my son was born. She brought stuff then to get rid of, like all of my kids' stuff that I had been holding on to since like high school and stuff like that. She brought that stuff up to me. And then when she came for my son's first birthday, she brought more crap up here. So the garage is kind of really full of my stuff. And then my husband has his tools and his bikes and that kind of thing out there. My treadmill's out there. But it really does need to be decluttered. And then, you know, the things that we're keeping, like I have porcelain dolls sitting out there, which is not a place that you want porcelain dolls to be sitting, is in the garage. But we have built-in metal shelves that are in there on top of some shelving units that I bought from Home Depot and stuff like that. So it is organized. It's organized chaos, let's put it that way. So anyways, so because I didn't get a video on Wednesday, we are going to do Wednesday's video today, and then get these questions out of the way because this is Military Madness Part 2. And then I'm still going to do my Sunday routine per se, because I still have a lot to do today. And then I'll just post it tomorrow, and then Wednesday we'll get back on track. I said I was going to do that last week, and then with Christmas and everything, it just got all off kilter. And I ended up holding on to my Sunday's video from last week and just posting it after Christmas so that I could get Christmas stuff built into it. And my whole schedule's just gotten off with the funk and the kids, and I've also been, like I said, babysitting for some extra money. So having those extra kids here, one of which stays here till 5 or 6 sometimes, it's just gotten my crap all off. So I want to get back into it. So I got my cheat sheet. And this week's questions are kind of some that I've touched on before. So we're just going to roll through them really quickly. And then, you know, we'll get back into the swing of things. So technically we are doing Wednesday the 26th video. So we're gonna get those questions started. The first one being, how do you handle him being away? My husband and I have been through a total of, and I do apologize if you hear my kids, they keep sneaking in here. Please go. Shut the door. Shut the door. Thank you. One of them's cleaning their bedroom, my oldest one. She's been in there for 3 days. She's been purging and decluttering her bedroom because I told her, you know, you're 11 years old, you're doing your own. So anyways, getting back to it, how do you handle him being away? So me and my husband have gone through, oh Jesus. I've actually, honest to God, I've lost count. So we were in San Diego for 5 years, and in those 5 years, intermittently here and there, and 6-month deployments, and 3-month deployments, and 2-week underways, and all this other crap. So you figure 5 years, my husband was gone 3 years of that. So 36 months out of, what's 5 times 12, 60? Yeah. So yeah, my husband was gone 36 of 60 months. And then since he's been here, he has been gone, I think we've been here for 4 years. He didn't go anywhere for the first 2 years that we were here. And then he's been going back and forth to Hawaii to teach, which isn't some big, you know, military secret. He goes there to teach only because they've got a compound there that requires some of the kids there to be taught the type of work that he does. So he's been going there. And I think overall he's probably been gone a little over a year, you know, 3 months here, 4 months here, you know, 1 month here, that kind of thing. But overall a little over a year, maybe a year and a half. I think it's been like 14 months that he has been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, it's not that I deal with him being away. I think because we got married, I was 24, about to be 24. We got married in June, and then I turned 24, so I was 23 when we got married. He had just turned 21. So there was, we got married early, and then immediately after being married for 6 short months, he went on his first deployment. So we've kind of, it sounds really bad, we've gotten used to it. My husband hates that terminology because he says that he feels like we should not be used to it, like we shouldn't have to be used to it. His ship was not scheduled to go out that often when we were in San Diego, and it just happened to be that he kind of got the short end of the stick, and he got a ship that kept going out and kept relieving other people because most ships don't go on deployment that often. So we kind of had to get used to it. And then the second question kind of plays into the first question, and it's how do you handle kids when he's gone? So early in our relationship, I was actually, when we first got to San Diego, I was pregnant with my middle child. We had just found out, we had moved cross country right at Christmas time, and I found out I was pregnant on the 21st of December. Why I remember that, I cannot explain because it's embarrassing. But I found out I was pregnant on the 21st, and then we got to San Diego on like the 28th or the 29th of December, and my husband left on the 4th of January. So I dealt with the first like 5.5 months of my pregnancy by myself, which was fine by me. I'm kind of a, you know, witch with a bee when I'm pregnant, especially when I'm pregnant with a girl. The double estrogen in my body does not do well with me. I'm not gonna lie. I don't claim that, you know, I'm not a very nice person when I'm pregnant with females. I don't know why. My boy was a completely different story, but that's for a different video. In the early part of our relationship, so it was just my oldest, and it was just her and I, and it was awesome. We went to the zoo, you know, we found things to do. As I got further along in my pregnancy and my husband came back, it made it a little bit easier because I was exhausted. Like the last 3 months of my pregnancy, I just wanted to do nothing but sleep. And he helped me out a ton with my oldest daughter, and, you know, it is what it is. And then he started going on deployments more often. But after we'd been there for about 1.5 years or so, my daughter started pre-K. So I really didn't have to deal with her per se. And then my middle child came along. So I was dealing with a newborn. And when newborn slept, I slept. So I really wasn't dealing with the kids. I've never had to really deal with my kids. My kids, I've gotten very lucky where they handled the deployment very well. You know, I've told you in a previous video that my middle child regressed a little bit on his very last deployment that he went on his ship. But I think it was because she was finally at an age where she could 100% understand that daddy was leaving and he wasn't just going right down the street and that he wouldn't be back right away. And I mean, she was old enough to realize even before that, but I just think it really hit home for her the last deployment. So I think it just bothered her. And like I said, she's definitely a daddy's girl, so I think it hit her harder, whereas my oldest is kind of a mama's girl. But yeah, my son now, you know, I wouldn't necessarily call these deployments. They're like TADs or like underways, if you want to call them that. My son is still not 100% aware what's going on, so, and it never really hits home with him because we're able to Skype or FaceTime or whatever you know, whatever technology we can use to be able to talk to daddy. So, it hasn't really hit home with him because he pretty much gets to see him every day. But, you know, once they started school, it was like, as bad as it sounds, the school had to deal with them during the day. And then, you know, I basically had them for 4 or 5 hours a night before it was time for them to go to bed. And, you know, that was just kind of our routine. And then, you know, thank God there were some big gaps in there where daddy wasn't on deployment, but he was gone, like I said, 36 months out of 60. So, and then the last question is, you know, not really a question. It's something that people say all the time. Speaking of deployment, because, you know, you asked, how do I deal with it when he's gone? How do I deal with the kids? And then you hear at the end of it, God, you know, didn't you feel like that deployment went by so fast? God, that deployment went by so fast. Let me tell you something. For me, the first half of the deployment, yes, it does kind of go by fast because you're in the swing of things. You immediately click into mommy/daddy mode and you're taking care of the mommy side of things. You're taking care of the daddy side of things because you're being both when they're gone. Let me tell you, you know, if you've got a 6-month deployment, those first 3 or 4 months may fly by in perspective, but then those last 2 months, all you want is your husband to come back. You love your kids, but you want daddy to come back because you're tired of being mommy and daddy all at the same time. You are tired of being the only disciplinarian. You are tired of only being the one that is reprimanding all the time and breaking the kids up, because my kids are not perfect. They argue. And oh my God, my 2 girls, they're too close in age, so they argue all the time. Even now, I mean, they're 11 and they're 8 and they still argue. But yeah, those last 2 months, those do not go by fast. Those suck. And especially if, God forbid, that deployment happened over a holiday break, which it did a few times. It happens over the summer, which it did a few times. And that really sucks, because then it's not that mommy gets a break for the 6 or 7 hours that the kids are in school. Mommy has them from sun up to sundown to time to bed. You know, we are doing breakfast and lunch and dinner and nap times and all of this stuff, and I'm doing it all by myself, and it sucks. But, you know, that's just the nature of the beast. I've told you guys before, I'm going to be blunt and honest with you, and deployment sucks. There's no other way to put it. Just deployment sucks. It sucks for the military personnel. I mean, my husband hates it. He absolutely despises living out of suitcases or out of, you know, his rack on the ship, packing up your whole entire life, because you have to be prepared for anything. So he has to pack for 6 months. And I can send him care packages and stuff. Like, if he wants a specific thing, like, I can send him care packages on the ship. But there's no way in crap I'm going to send him, like, his laptop or his iPad or whatever. So when we get time to sit down and he's getting ready to go on deployment, I sit down and I make a list. Or he makes a list and he figures out everything he needs. And, you know, if he needs new shirts and new socks and new undies and whatever else he needs before he leaves, we have to make sure that he's got that before he leaves. And it gets frustrating. It becomes a lot right before the deployment. And then, you know, like I said, the deployment itself just sucks, because he's gone. He's dealing with what he has to deal with on the ship. And then, unfortunately, because my husband is someone that I vent to. I have girlfriends, yes, but when it comes to my husband's kids and they're acting fools, of course, when he calls me or has time to FaceTime me, the first thing I'm going to do is be like, look, you know, you've got the extra 5 minutes right now. I need you to speak up and say something to your kid because, you know, they did such and such or whatever. So he's parenting sometimes from 3,000, 4,000, God only knows how many thousand miles away. But sometimes it just takes that. It's like, you know, this mom's had enough. And, you know, I've been doing it now for 4.5 months. I just need you to do it for 5 minutes, please. Just talk to her or talk to him and maybe talk some sense into them. So that's kind of how deployment works. That's what it's like when they're gone. That's what it's like to take care of the kids. And, you know, some parts of it are awesome, because when my husband comes back, I 100%, I didn't believe in it before, but when I became a military spouse, absent makes the heart grow fonder. I love my husband more and more every time he comes back. It's just nice to have that time away from him, and a time where we can both kind of recharge and rejuvenate. And then when we come back together, it's like we understand each other more, because there's a lot of emails and a lot of text messages that go back and forth between him and I. If he FaceTimes, it's really just to talk to the kids. So there's emails and stuff and, you know, text messages when he's gone. And we're able to actually have full-blown conversations, whereas sometimes we may not want to have those conversations in person because we don't want to hurt the other one's feelings. And it's not that we're arguing, but it's just that, you know, some things you feel like you can say better when it's in a letter or in an email, and that's kind of how things work when he's on deployment. So when he comes back, it's a greater, you know, it's a greater relationship. But anyways, those are the 3 questions for Technically Wednesday. I'm going to finish up a different video for today. We're going to do Sunday, day in the life. And then at the end of that video, I'm going to sit down and cover the 2 questions that I didn't want to grace in this one, because like I said, it's a 6-part. I'm trying to get it all in 6 parts. So I don't want to make it too long for this particular video, but I'll get this one up and then I will post the other one tomorrow. And then Wednesday we'll get back on track. So other than that, keep living the crazy life. Share, comment, like this video. And as always, you know, you guys are my main fan base, and, you know, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. See ya.